Our guest tonight is a man who likes to ask questions, so see if you can figure out who he is from these.
Now, whose surname means man of peace, even though his interviews are anything but?
Who once asked Michael Howard the same question 12 times?
And who has presented Newsnight for 22 years and University Challenge for 17?
Paxman, Newsnight.
Your starter for 10, it's Jeremy Paxman.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to see you, Jeremy. Thanks for coming in.
Very embarrassing introduction, wasn't it? Who wrote that rubbish?
Just for you, yes.
Now, you usually take Newsnight on tour to the annual party conference, but of course, due to BBC cutbacks, you won't be doing that next year.
I know.
Will you miss them?
No.
No? Okay.
No. I've felt for a long time that the party conferences are really a bit of a fraud on the public, to be frank. You know, it's interesting. I mean, you can talk to people close up. You have breakfast with cabinet ministers or whatever, if that's your taste. But no, I shan't miss it, really. No.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a shame, because obviously we won't be treated to gems like this anymore.
To say that something is broken, if you say that camera is broken, then it wouldn't function at all. Would it?
Well, it could be broken and still function, obviously.
No. If it was in common parlance, Jeremy, if you said that camera was broken, then it wouldn't function. You say, I've got a broken camera, but it's still working, people wouldn't understand what you were saying. That camera is not broken. There may be parts of it that could do it. In fact, I can see, when I look at it, I can see the parts of the underside of that camera that are a bit scuffed.
Yeah. So bits of Britain are scuffed, that's what you're saying.
I mean, you know, we're laughing, but there's a serious point there, because
There is there?
Well, yeah, you'd met your match there. His technique was winning the audience over, and there wasn't much you could do about it.
Well, you be the judge of who won, if you want to put it in those terms. I don't think it really is a contest in quite the way you present it. But I mean, no, he's very difficult. There was a tiny little stand we're at, and I'll do it. And he kept on going like this throughout the... Sorry, not on your breast, but on your arm, sorry. And my arm was black and blue.
Really?
Yeah, no, he's very...
So is that the answer, then, to defeat Paxo? You just have to get...
It's a bit of physical violence, that's
right.
The answer, obviously. Yeah, it's the natural next stage.
Justin is here with us now. Jeremy, of course, Justin is your colleague from...
Indeed, we don't let him wear his shirt outside his trousers when he's on Newsnight, I can tell you that.
Well, different rules.
To wear a suit.
Yeah.
I was going to say give him a hard time if you wish, but you already have, so that's brilliant.
Okay. Take a look at this. This is £10,000. Let's have a look at that. Right, now, have a look at this. This is £1 million. So that's a pretty tall guy with all those £10,000 stacked up next to him. Now, this is £100 million. So that's a pallet piled up with money, 100 million. But we're still not talking serious money when we're talking about these financial bailouts that are happening around the world. Have a look at this. This is £1 billion. So obviously that's 10 of those pallets. So now we're beginning to move into the kind of serious money world. Look at this. This is £1 trillion. OK, and there's a huge articulated lorry unloading a bit of extra money. Now, that's only half of the debt that Britain owes, because Britain owes this much money. £2 trillion. And we've thrown in the football field and the jet for free.
I was depressed there until I saw the football pitch and the jet. Now it looks quite fun.
Yeah, there's at least something to do when you're counting all that money. But it is huge amounts of... I mean, almost unintelligible amounts of money.
It is. And there's news today, of course, about how this economic downturn will affect the average family.
Yeah, people are saying that it could be the biggest fall in family incomes for 35 years. There's been research out by the Institute of Fiscal Studies. They're saying some families could lose income of about £2,000 over the next few years. So it's quite a big hit. But let's be clear, this is nowhere near as big as the kind of hits that people saw back in the 1930s. We're still way richer than we were then.
Do you do anything on this programme apart from depress people?
I never thought I'd say this, but Jeremy Paxman, cheer us up. What could you say?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, the Great Depression. Marx Brothers, W.C. Fields, Mae West, you're in great movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
There is a possibility, you know, that he's wrong. The famous saying about economists is, 2 economists, 3 opinions.
Now, there is some
Nobody
good news
knows,
on the
do they?
horizon. Talking of economics, there is some good news on the horizon. The Europeans have finally said they're going to come up with a plan that may lift Europe out of the mess that it's in. They've said in 2 weeks' time they're going to meet. Having said that, they've said that many times before.
Well,
so here's one last bit of good news for you. Scotland could be getting through to the European Championship tonight.
well.
BBC 7:45
News
kick-off.
And there's irrelevant news. Thank you very much.
I wondered what you did over here.
Let's move back
Offering a little bit of light.
Well, Jeremy, your new book is all about how having an empire in the past still affects us today. Well, away from the book, what about building your own empire? I mean, obviously brilliant at interviewing. Would you do
are you talking about?
Would you do a Piers Morgan and
Answer
go
the
to
question,
America?
Mr. Paxman.
Do you think Piers Morgan's got an empire?
Yes, massive.
Is it?
I don't know. I'm just making that. Yeah, would you like to go to the States?
Would I like to model myself on Piers Morgan? No, the very short answer to that is definitely not.
Have you ever asked a question on TV and then immediately regretted it afterwards? You seem very confident in the questions you ask, but have you ever seen one gone out and...
Oh, of
my
course,
God,
of
I got that
course.
wrong.
Sometimes I think, God, that was a stupid question to ask. Why did you ask him that as opposed to something else? And sometimes, you know, sometimes you regret saying things because they seem clumsy or hurtful or whatever. And, you know, I mean, politicians can look after themselves, of course, but the ordinary person, you shouldn't use people's unfamiliarity. I mean, your audience can't see what this is like, but it's a very unnatural environment. I know you're pretending to be perfectly normal. Well, you look quite normal.
No, we are
And you're pretending to be
Right.
quite normal, sitting on a sofa. But this is not like anybody's sitting room. And to use that unfamiliarity to people's disadvantage is not fair, I think. So, yeah, there are times I've regretted things, of course.
Thank you to Jeremy. His new book, Empire, is out now.
Yeah, tomorrow we're joined by Paul Merton. We'll see you at 7. Have a lovely night. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.